The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. This week on the Panthers Huddle, Dave Canales and the crew look back at a hard-fought division game against the Falcons and look ahead to facing the Washington Commanders. Plus, join us in TD's film room as he breaks down film on dynamic rookie Jaden Daniels. Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle.
Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle. Kristen Balboni here with my co-host Thomas Davis. TD, of course, we've got to start with that loss to the Falcons.
It was a tough loss, but for me, KB, just watching that game, I never really felt like we were ever completely out of that game all the way down to the end.
I completely agree with you. That's certainly how it felt standing on the sidelines. We're going to start with some of the good, and it continues to be Chuba Hubbard and what he can do on the ground.
Yeah, Chuba is an amazing player. He's a dynamic player. He brings a lot to this offense, and when we are doing extremely well, it's usually because Chuba is running the ball really well. And 92 yards in this past game, he's one of the top 5 players in all of the categories for running backs in the NFL. And I think that really speaks to, the offensive line playing extremely well, and it speaks to what Chuba has really focused in, worked hard on this offseason.
Absolutely. He has become a bruiser, and it is really fun to see. Do you think for the Panthers to succeed, or one of the keys for the Panthers to succeed, he needs to get the ball, let's say, 20 times?
Listen, at least 20 times. Okay. I would say 25 is the number of times that we should feed Chuba.
Yep, I think he would be very happy to hear you say that. And as you said, top 5 in so many categories, so impressive. Now, on the other side of things, I know this pains you to talk about, but the Panthers defense cannot stop the run.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Whenever you lose a guy like Derrick Brown up front, it's going to always be extremely hard to get that done. But when you factor in having Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell, those were the guys that we identified as being our starting linebackers to start this season. And now both of those guys are also out. So it's going to be extremely tough, but we have to have these young guys step up and understand what the standard is when it comes to playing Panther defense. The defense around here for so long has carried this football team. And I know we've had some great offensive football players, and I'm not taking that away. But when you think about Panther football, it really boils down to playing great, tough, physical defense. And that's something that we haven't been able to consistently do around here so far this season.
And nobody exemplifies that better than you, TD. All right, we had a chance to catch up with head coach Dave Canales for his perspective on the Falcons game. Here's that conversation. All right, we are joined now by head coach Dave Canales. Thank you so much for joining us, as always.
Thanks for having me, Kristen.
All right, so you said last week after the loss to the Falcons, you said that you were preaching to the team consistency. What exactly when it comes to consistency?
Well, the reason I said that was because in this game, we played some really good football. We had some nice stops. Our third down was improving offensively. We got back on track with the just staying in rhythm and the efficient style of ball that we wanted. Our run game looked great. We stretched the field and had some explosive passes. And then in the span of the game, though, there wasn't enough consistency to play ourselves into a position to keep a lead. We certainly got ourselves back to a one-score game, and we're knocking on the door, walking the ball all the way down. But it's across the team, and we had a kick blocked on special teams as well. So it's about seeing the successes, showing the guys, look at the improvement. Look at the improvement of what we're doing here. Can we do this down in and down out and minimize the big plays offensively and defensively, minimize those big plays so we can play really good football.
Coach, you talk about consistency, and I love that word, but one of the things that stands out to me defensively has been the inconsistency of the guys on the back end when it comes to communication. Right. And one of those plays that really stood out to me was the play in Atlanta to Kyle Pitts. 2 guys right there not communicating, not being on the same page. What are we going to do moving forward to make sure that we have some consistency when it comes to communicating on the back end? Because it seems like week in and week out it's happening.
No doubt. And the thing is, there was progress. There were fewer mistakes in communication, but still, we can't have it. Right. We're talking about 4 plays, TD, but those 4 plays changed the complexion of the game. let's eliminate those miscommunications. When players make plays, they all get paid to make those plays, and those things are going to happen, but let's not have it be because of a breakdown of scheme. And that's the direction that we're heading in, but we got to keep pushing, and we got to keep talking to each other and working the things out in the weeks.
I heard, being on the sideline, I heard J.C. Horn telling his teammates, he said, over-communicate. You cannot communicate enough. So I know as a coach, you got to be happy to hear that. I want to talk about the run defense. We know that stopping the run is certainly something that you emphasize over and over. It's the type of team you want to be. So how can the defense take that next step?
Yeah, again, it comes back to trust. It comes back to everybody doing their part. And what happens is on defenses is if you try to do too much outside of just your role, then all of a sudden it puts stress and it's a ripple effect. And so it's the trust factor. We all know what we're doing. We all know exactly where we're supposed to be, and play with your leverage so the ball bounces or comes back to the right people. And that's about playing good team defense. And that's the part that we're still working on to find it, and the guys know it. We know it as a staff. We're preaching it. We're talking about it. We're ironing those things out. And those are the steps we got to take to be able to play the type of football I know we're capable of.
So, Coach, we had 3 rookies to me that really stood out for us in having Xavier step up, having Coker step up, and also having our tight end step up in a big way for us as an offense. What are some of the things that you've seen from these guys that has allowed you to have confidence to put them out there in crucial situations?
It's a commitment to the process. It's a commitment to our concepts and our schemes. These guys are growing exponentially. Every week, the growth curve for a rookie is so steep. They climb so high so quickly, and they're handling all the work that's required to do it. They're handling it great, and they're showing up, working hard in practice, and they're making the plays that are coming to them. That's the most important thing. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. There are so many things. You talk about communication on the defensive side. On the offensive side, there are so many details, so many splits, so many depths of routes, so many blocking assignments and schemes within what we're doing that aren't sharp, that aren't clean. These guys are a part of that growth process as well. And every week that we get to be out there and those guys are asked to perform and make those plays is so valuable for us as a team.
Coming up, Coach Canales and the crew set their sights on the Commanders, featuring some familiar faces on the Panthers Huddle. This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Right, we are back here with head coach Dave Canales. Coach, as we look ahead to the Commanders, of course, we have to start with Jayden Daniels. He has really come into his own and seems to me like playing so much more than a rookie. So what do you see from him as you watch the tape?
You see an accurate passer. He can throw accurately on all levels of the field. The deep ball, the short intermediate things on the move. So it all starts there, and then I think that as he continues to grow in a level of comfort with the concepts and the things that Coach Kingsbury is presenting to them from a pass game standpoint, he can also extend plays. And, it's that kind of ability buys you time to be able to feel out how we're trying to attack things and to find the rhythm because he's got a lot of talent around him. He's got Terry McLaurin, he's got Zach Ertz, he's got Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler to get the ball to, he's got a real strong cast of players around him to find those, opportunities in those windows.
Coach, so some of the things that I've watched a lot of teams take advantage of when playing Washington has been their offensive line, but they figure out a way to move him around and get him out of the pocket to make sure they take away from the struggles of their offensive line. What are some of the ways that you feel like we can take advantage of their offensive line this week?
Honestly, it all starts by stopping the run. So we got to come together. We got to troubleshoot our issues, everybody counting on each other, make them be one-dimensional, make them have to throw the ball, make Jaden have to work a little bit and make this offensive line have to pass pro, and that way we can apply the pressure the way we want to.
Speaking of offensive line, I wanted to ask you about the new look offensive line that we saw for the Panthers last week. So we saw Brady Christensen in at center in place of Austin Corbett. We saw Yash Nyman over there for Taylor Moton. What did you think of what they did, and how confident are you in some of these replacement pieces as we go forward?
We had all the confidence in the world with these guys going out there to play our style of football because it starts with the run game, and that's what these guys can do. Brady's a phenomenal athlete. He's got a great first step. He can really get on edges with guys. Josh Nijman is ginormous.
6'7".
So he gives us that good, strong point of attack run, when we need it. The part that was cool was to see them grow as the game went on to settle into the pass pros. We came out of the game with 0 sacks. That's a tribute to that offensive line all across the board working together. And also let's give credit to Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt right on the either side of Brady and right next to Josh, just being able to have that communication that we needed to continue to play our style of offensive football.
And I want to follow up with one thing. We continue to see Chuba Hubbard excel game after game. I think he's top 2 in terms of rushing yards in the NFL. What is your ideal number of carries for him? It's something we were talking about earlier.
I don't have that number. There's no magical number to me. For me, it's about attacking the defense with our style. And so the things that they're giving us, we'll just keep taking them. In the drive, we're going to come back with a 1-score game. It's like stomp the puddle out. They can't stop it. Unload the clip, and at some point, we draw them into an 8-man box. Now that's when the pass happens. We made them play to our style, and that's really the focus. It's not necessarily about getting Chuba a certain amount of touches. He's fantastic. I want to hand the ball off to him as much as I can, but we let it come to us.
Coach, I know another group for this Washington Commanders that don't get a lot of recognition or a lot of talk, but they've added a guy you're very familiar with in Bobby Wagner, and they added a guy that we're very familiar with in Frankie Louisville. And those guys have had some really, really great production in the first part of this season. How do you see them coming in and being a problem for us defensively?
2 guys that just play the game right. Great tacklers, downhill players. They know when to take their shots. When they feel like it's going to be a high percentage run and that formation looks like it, they go. So for me, it's about making sure that I keep those guys off balance with the play actions, with the run game, with the screen game, making them pop out and play the play action passes. Those are all the things I have to do when I really respect and regard players as much as I do these guys. We can't just come in there and say, hey, we're going to run the ball right at you. Let's see what you do. We have to mix it. We got to attack them different ways and make them use those great football brains that I know they have.
All right, Coach, we appreciate the time so much. We're looking forward to that game on Sunday.
Thank you.
Andy, what is it about a Dan Quinn defense that makes it so tough or makes it kind of stand out?
I think the style of play. I think the type of guys that they get to play in that defense. Guys play really hard and physical and know where to be. And so I think that's why he's always had a really solid defense.
Yeah, their D-line, is very stout, very fundamental, very good D-line. And then obviously you got Frankie, who we know who Frankie is. You got Bobby Wagner, Utah State legend. And then Jeremy Chin too. So they got a lot of good players on that team, a lot of great defense, and it'll be a good challenge.
Right. It definitely felt really good not having the pressure of coming back. You know what I mean? Obviously for me, I'm a football player. I'm competitive. I want to get out there and compete with my teammates and just try to get out there and show the world what I can do. But it's also, like I said, it's a process. I can't get back out there and rush it and re-injure it and then set out a whole nother year. So it's really just, you got to wait on the right time and just believe in yourself, believe in the trainers, believe in what we're doing is getting me better.
It's been 81 days since I played, but nobody's counting for real. 81 days since I played, so I mean, it's been a long journey. Taught me a little bit of patience, and then just trying to be the best teammate I can. Try to give guys tips and meetings. So I mean, it helped me grow a little bit as a person.
Were you counting them?
Yes, I was very much.
It's always tougher playing a mobile quarterback like him that's able to extend plays. Kind of got to cover your man twice. It affects the back end for sure. You got to make sure you plaster. He didn't put a couple plays on tape where he didn't found guys deep outside the pocket extending plays. So, yeah, he a hell of a player. So it's gonna be exciting for sure.
Up next, step inside TD's film room as he analyzes the X's and O's behind Washington's electric rookie QB on the Panthers Huddle. Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
Okay, we are inside TD's film room. And TD, normally when we do this segment, we talk about a lot of different players, a lot of different things that the Panthers could see. But this week we are talking about one person and one person only, and that is Jaden Daniels.
Yes, and we're talking about him because he's played just that well all season long. This kid has come in and completely transformed the face of Washington's offense. And we're going to jump right into this film, and we're going to show you just how he's done that. Jaden Daniels is a guy right here. Pause this play right here. As you watch this play, Jaden Daniels is reading the defense. He's trying to figure out whether they're playing man coverage, whether they're in the zone. So now they're going to motion this guy over to try to get the defense fast flowing one way, and then we're going to come back. He does a great job utilizing his skill set because Cleveland does a great job of getting a guy on the edge coming free and allowing him to come right at Jaden Daniels. But what does he do? He utilizes his speed and his ability to get around the edge. And watch, right here, eyes downfield. We're going to show you from the other angle just how special this play really was because you can't see it from this angle. But as this play goes on, we freeze this play right here. They do a great job. The Cleveland Browns, they have a guy covering right here. They have a guy covering right here. They have a guy right here, a guy right here. So you have 4 guys to cover 3 men.
Also, I noticed that right there.
And you have a guy that's taking on his jersey right now. But what does he do? He takes his time, he's patient, and he delivers a dart right in the middle of those 4 defenders. And that right there shows you the level of maturity and the level of patience that Jaden Daniels has as a young quarterback, which you usually don't find when a guy is that young. A lot of times you will see a quarterback in that position with his skill set just pull the ball down and pick up about 4 or 5 yards and be happy with that. But no, he allowed that play to develop and he threw it downfield exactly where it needed to be to Terry McLaurin. Right here, this is another example of what Jaden Daniels is capable of doing. Right here, we snap this ball. It's an RPO. He can run or pass this ball, but he does a great job identifying Cleveland sold out to take away the run. And Jaden Daniels just pulls the ball down like we talked about, and he picks up the first down. That's what this kid does. That's why they had times within their season where their punter didn't even touch the field, KB, which is absolutely crazy to go multiple games without your punter having to get up and kick the football is truly an indication of how special this kid has been.
But there's a team recently that did figure out how to limit him, and that was the Ravens. So you've got a couple plays for us here about ways in which potentially the Panthers could stop him.
Absolutely. So this is what we have to do to make sure that we contain this kid. Right here, Baltimore does a great job of keeping someone close to Jaden Daniels, making sure that he doesn't have the opportunity to just run free. And when you do that, that forces him to make a tough decision. And not only did they have somebody in his face, they had 2 guys covering these defenders, this receiver, so he had nowhere to go with the ball. But even in this situation, what this shows me is this kid is well above his rookie year because he just throws the ball away. He doesn't allow himself to make an even worse decision in taking a sack right there. He throws the football away and he gives them the opportunity to line up again. He is dynamic. He is special. He can beat you throwing the ball or he can beat you running the ball. So we have to have all men on deck and make sure that we're tackling well. And when we have opportunities to take the football away, we have to take advantage of that.
All right, that is the game plan. Thank you so much, TD.
When we return, Kristen and TD close out the show with their final thoughts in this week's Spotlight on the Panthers Huddle.
Welcome back to the Panthers Huddle. If you're looking for more Panthers content, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. This week we had J.C. Horn mic'd up against the Falcons.
I'm 12. I'm Mike. Let go, we up, let go. Hey, stand tall right here. Watch screen. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's go. Good job. Good job. All you gotta do is communicate tackle, bro. Communicate tackle.
Okay, it is time now for our Coke Spotlight. So, TD, we are each going to spotlight something that we want to see in this game against the Commanders. You're up first.
Yes, listen, my spotlight happens to be a guy by the name of Tress Way, and he plays for the Commanders. And why am I spotlighting Tressway? Because he happens to be their punter who has not been utilized very much this season. So if we get to see a lot of Tressway this week, that says that we played some really good defense and that we forced Washington off the field, maybe a lot of 3-and-out situations, maybe a couple of drives, and getting him on the field. However, we have to get Tressway on the field. That's what I want to happen, and I want to see him get utilized at least 10 times this game, and that usually bodes well for us defensively because we're having a great defensive performance whenever we see a lot of Tressway.
I love that. All right, TD, you mentioned the number 10. That is actually part of my Coke Spotlight. So the Panthers had 10 penalties for 74 yards. And even more so, I know you saw this, those 10 penalties came at crucial times. Some third downs, they really got backed up. So, they've been doing pretty good with penalties in the few games before this. I would like to see them cut that number down significantly.
Absolutely, KB. That's a great take. When you look at the penalties and the timing of those penalties, that's really set us back offensively and defensively because it's allowed them to get some first downs off of some of the penalties that we've had too. So that's a great spotlight, KB.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, that is all the time we have for today. On behalf of Thomas Davis, I am Kristen Balboni. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week, but until then,
keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.